7 p.m. Marlene, control yourself. No, I don't want to answer that. No. The answer is no. Okay, the meeting will be called to order. This is a regular meeting of math. We have a pretty good agenda tonight. It's not going to be, it's not an agenda that we had to pass out knives and guns before the meeting, so that's good for a change. We'll have call to order approval of minutes of June 11th, 2015 regular meeting.
I make a motion to approve this.
Motion's been made.
We have to.
Oh, we have to read our thing.
There's a thing on the item D. Says hairdressers is donating.
Yeah, all right, harvesters. It was supposed to be harvesters. It was
Which hairdressers are donating? What are we getting wigs?
Oh, that's so funny.
It meant to be harvesters.
So, yeah,
good catch.
Just like the judges in England, wear wigs.
Okay. Okay, so we'll make that correction. Correction noted that the hairdressers are not donating and the Boy Scouts are not involved in any way.
What? No, Boy Scouts are.
No, Boy Scouts are involved.
In donating hairdressers?
No, they're donating hairdressers. No.
Boy Scouts are.
Harvesters is donating.
It gets moved at the end.
I'll make a statement about that later. Any other additions or deletions to the minutes of June 11th? Not all. Motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve.
A second.
I have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Any abstentions? Good. Regular agenda. You're on, Ken.
Okay, Middletown Area Town Hall was formed to operate as a true town hall with everyone participating in voting. However, county officials required us to elect a board to conform with other county advisory committees. Our bylaws specify that the board makes decisions based on the vote of everyone present. The board encouraged all members to give their opinion and vote on every matter before the assembly. All those in attendance are advised this meeting is being videotaped. Those who do not want to be videotaped have the following two options. One, you may request the camera to be directed away as you speak, or two, you may provide a written statement to someone to read into the record on your behalf.
Okay. Prior to having public input, there's going to be a speaker on this issue, but I want to take time right now to read Section 2 of the bylaws of the Middletown Area Town Hall, which was approved by the Board of Supervisors and by County Council. And I want to read it to you, and then I'll open public comment or other comments. The purpose of math is to increase the participation of the Middletown area residents in the decision-making processes that affect their community. The math board will serve as the official local community representative to work with Lake County Board of Supervisors or other entities and agencies to provide grassroots input, direction, and guidance on issues related to the unincorporated area of the county defined by the boundaries of the South Lake County Fire Protection District. These issues include, but are not limited to, matters of public health, safety, welfare, public works, planning, and land use. So if you don't have a copy of the bylaws and you need a copy, I'd be happy to make a copy for you and get them to you. But that is the purpose of math. We'll now open for public input, and the chair recognizes Linda Fieldarts.
Wow, usually I'm last, in case anybody was wondering.
You think you're discriminated against?
No, I think he likes to tease me. I really thought that it was important to bring up how math started because we have so many new people. Math was started by a group of very passionate people who felt like South Lake County, particularly our area, needed a stronger voice from the residents themselves. Supervisors are like, we have our district supervisor here. They can only be so many places, and they have a large area to take care of. So we formed math, and it was a learning curve and a process. And one of the things that was really important that we learned through our process, in my opinion, was how to speak about a passionate issue respectfully and say it in a way that's respectful and not degrading or downing someone else or whatever the issue is. If we have people up here that are representing something that we may be against, being respectful in our interchanges with them. We have great credibility with the county now that we've been for a while, and have taken things to the board, and we present those things in a business-like, professional manner. And we've learned that we need to follow certain guidelines because the supervisors have to go by certain rules, and they can't make decisions based on emotion. We have to show to them facts of something that we believe it pertains, like to the general plan or the area plan. So those things are really important for us when we make a vote about something, that when we address the supervisors with how we feel as a community, that we address it in that way. And I just felt like it needed to be more clear for people to understand that that's what MAP's purpose is to be a voice for South Lake County, be respectful regardless of who's up here, whether we're for or against whatever it is that they're presenting. And that when we have a committee, which we formed for the Dollar General, for instance, and there will be a report tonight given from that committee, that we hit the points that the supervisors have to look at when they're making their decision. Whether it's for or against, we look for our points that represent the majority of how people feel here. So I just felt like that was important to be said. Thanks.
Any other public comment? It's open. Yes, Doris.
Yes, and I hope MAP is also available to provide information to the community about things of interest. For example, at the Gibson Museum, we're presently showing, highlighting a Middletown Days exhibit, and that concludes at the end of this month. So if you're interested in seeing our historic Middletown Days exhibit, please go by the Gibson Museum Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday from 1 to 5. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, ma'am.
What's the next?
Oh, we have a whole series, and I just put it on the Facebook page.
So look on the Facebook page.
Yes, thank you.
There you go.
The Gibson.
Anybody else public comment? All the way back. No public comment at the back. Marlene?
I have a question for Linda about the town, or the MAP t-shirts. What kind of product do
You
you
were the only person that ordered one, so I'm waiting to get some more orders.
Also, I want to make sure that some agenda items are on the agenda coming up soon. One is permanent arches for our park, and two is a marquee for the park. And so I want to get those on an agenda soon.
Okay. A marquee meaning?
Just something so that we can advertise, like there's like a book club that the library's having. There is things going on at the senior center, like a Tai Chi or a Zumba class or lunches. If there's things going on at the park, like the chili cook-off or the movies. Movies. But something that kind of lets everyone know all of the different activities that are going on here, because I think a lot of people don't know that.
Thank you. Okay, well, I'm going to make a public statement tonight regarding math and the role that math has to play in the community, and our role in providing information to the Board of Supervisors. When we started math, we wanted to have a platform for people in the community to come and express their views on issues that we were looking at in the community. And the concept was that anybody can come at any time. You don't have to be a member. You can just come in and get on your soapbox and talk for 3 minutes about any subject. unless it was on the agenda, then you would have a chance at the agenda item to express your concern. What we did not envision, or have we ever talked about, was an activist role in issues in the county. Now, activist roles can mean different things to different people. You being here means you're an activist, that you're concerned about the community and you want to express your concern. But what we don't want to do is, I don't think, if we disagree with something the Board of Supervisors are going to do, is get our signs out and start marching up and down the road under mass name. You can do that certainly on your own, and God bless you, and no one would deny you the opportunity to express your feelings. But that's not mass role. That's not our role. Our role is to come together, and if you have an issue, and we've had everything from dogs barking to junk at somebody's house, to the color that they painted their house, and all of that. People have an opportunity to come here and talk about it. Now, in some cases, we haven't done anything about it. We try to direct them to the people that can help them. Code enforcement, and so on. But on issues relative to the community that affects the whole community, then we have to decide how much we're going to get involved. And I'll tell you, our original idea was that we would not go necessarily to the Board of Supervisors, but we would provide to our supervisor our input on an issue. And then he would be informed about what we wanted or what we didn't want. And that's changed a little bit because thanks to Jim, he said, no, you guys want to speak about it, please come down, and individuals can always go, but mass should come also. So he's allowed us to do that. So, and we have done that in the past. But I'd like to ask Jim to give an idea about what he thinks about the activism that we seem to be heading toward a little bit, and whether or not that's what he wants us to do. Because we report to him, make no mistake about it, we report to the supervisor, and for his, he wants to know what we're thinking, we want to know what he's thinking, and we don't want to go off and do something that's going to embarrass him in front of the board and him not be informed as to what our thinking is. Jim, do you have any comments?
Oh, thank you. I did not know that this was coming, but activism is wonderful, and it has its place. If someone wants to come and carry signs and chant and rant and rave, I have to be perfectly honest, it won't affect me. It won't affect my decisions. Because unless someone can bring facts that were not previously in evidence, it won't change anything. Emotion won't change things. Deal only in facts. You're not going to embarrass me. You'll be doing whatever you want to do. But groups with signs, and as far as I'm sitting in that chair, it's not going to change anything. Facts that were not previously in evidence presented, that I was not aware of before, that will influence decisions. So choose to do whatever you want, but I'm telling you who I am and what I am and how I work. Been at this in the school board and this for 25 years now. I don't get swayed just by.
You're not going to change now, huh?
No, I'm not.
Well, I just wanted to get some clarification, because we got involved, especially in this Dollar General thing, and we were split off and we were heading in some directions that made me a little bit nervous.
Very uncomfortable.
And so I wanted to rein us in and reevaluate. and I want your thoughts on it. I'm not dictating to you. I'm a member of math just like you are. I'm taking my 3 minutes. So if you have exceptions to what I'm saying, you have an opportunity right now to talk to the rest of the math group and say, I think the chairman is completely out of line and doesn't understand what the hell he's talking about. Okay, so Linda, I knew you'd have your...
You might get several people or something over that one.
I just wanted to clarify, we are appointed a municipal advisory committee, and that there are certain parameters that math as a body needs to follow in that. Am I not right?
Now, individual can do anything they
The
want.
individuals can do
Math
anything
as a
they
group
want.
has parameters they need to operate in.
Right,
And
that's what I wanted
they're
to
very
say.
specific.
Right,
And that's where math has to stay.
right, that's what I just wanted to have clarity on. Thank you.
Anybody have comments? Yes, Joe.
The other thing we have to consider too is when you get into objects like that or motion, you get 3 divisions in a group. And in the past, we haven't gotten into a lot of that stuff so deeply because, we strayed away from things that would cause division in the community, because ultimately our role here was to create a better Middletown in the sense of work together to take care of projects and do things like that. We work together on highway and stuff like that, or community objects. We never really got into stress like review of projects and stuff like that.
We haven't had an opportunity. There hasn't been any
Yeah.
projects and so on. Yes, Lisa.
Well, so the interesting thing, though, with regards to the Dollar General, is like, of course it makes, I think it makes sense that we had a vote, and I think it makes sense that there's a committee, and I think that it makes more sense for us to all decide that we do have to represent ourselves in any case if we're going to show up at the Board of Supervisors, because math, even if it's only you, really they need to see all the bodies that may or may not be behind you, but that you're representing. I think that a town hall is a place for debate, and I think that since the Middletown Town Hall has a large role in the Middletown Area Plan, that was part of the things that started the Middletown Area Town Hall. I think that when we're talking about things that are relevant to how we're developing, I think that it is really important to discuss and debate these things in this forum.
Oh, I think everyone agrees with that. It's when we go beyond that, then we have to go as individuals rather than as a group. Okay? Any other public comment?
Yeah,
Yes, Monica. I'm sorry, Ken.
The only thing I wanted to add is that in the Middletown plan itself, it does state that people of this area, of this region, are very passionate about what is going on here in Middletown and about plans and development. So again, I guess following what Lisa said, it's good. This is a good forum to bring those ideas to the table and the diversity of opinions and air them and share them. So, thank you.
Yeah.
This is another subject. One of our neighbors, Jackson and Calliope, had a complaint about smoking, cigarette smoking, as one of our neighbors, and it was the senior center staff members. It is this area is going over to her area and smoking, and it's bothering her. So I was hoping, since we have a good relationship with the senior center and Laura, we could maybe...
We'll talk to Lori about
Lori, yeah.
having a designated place away from their house.
An umbrella.
I know how they feel.
Thank you.
It's not very nice to smell that. Okay, any other public comment? If not, then I'm going to close the public comment and go to item number 4.
I have public input.
Oh, I didn't see your hand.
Okay, I didn't raise it for you.
Oh, well, then you should raise your hand.
All right.
It's already closed.
Also, I would like to add on the agenda for one of the next few months traffic issues again. Because aside from the Dollar General, traffic issues is what's brought to my attention the most from people I know here. And this last week there was a hit-and-run accident somewhere close to Harvesters. And about 2 months ago there was a pretty serious accident on the road to Harbin. There was one of the staff members in security at Harbin was biking. He hit the pothole, the bike flew, he got a concussion. 2 months later he's still not fully recovered. helicopter had to ambulance him to some hospital. So, and then people are talking about when going to the school, crossing that street, and so since that particular road to Harbin is, yeah, we had talked about it before, but it's it's heavy use for recreational purpose, but it's also one of the largest employers in the county is there, and also the largest tourist destination. I think it has to be addressed because it's like one thing after another happening on that road. So.
That is true, that there's a lot of traffic going up there. And as someone that works right on that road, and I cross it probably 50 times a day, the biggest offenders of the speed are Harbin employees in their little trucks. I watch them all day long. All day long. They think that maybe they're late to work or late leaving work. That's very bad for Harbin trucks to be flying up and down that little road. And then on weekends, we have a lot of people coming up that are not residents. They're visitors and they're tourists, and they want to get where they're going, and then when they get to doing what they're doing, they want to go home. And that road does not lend itself to fast traffic. There are some potholes on it, and it's a domed road in that if you start bouncing, you can bounce right off of that thing pretty quickly.
So does that mean you want to put that on the agenda?
Yeah, we'll put that on the agenda, and I'd like to have someone from Harbin Board of Directors here if they wanted to speak to this.
Sorry, what I meant specifically is not only that road. I would like to just get that Matt could get an update of what's happening as far as it comes to traffic things. 2 months ago, 3 months ago, we talked about it, and I would like to have somebody who knows what's going on coming inform us about new things.
Okay, about which one? Highway 29 or the county roads?
County road.
Yeah.
County or the
They're
state roads?
separate.
County.
The county
So you'd
roads,
like the county roads, which
Yeah.
does not affect anything on Highway 29
R175.
or 175. So if you want those, you need a Caltrans representative here. Otherwise, we get a county road to probably tie in itself.
Okay, so then county, I would like to have here, and as far as it comes to, I would Matt still to discuss what we talked about before, how people specifically when they come from Calistoga, there is nothing that really marks, nothing monumental that marks that you're now entering a town. So it takes people are already halfway through town when they realize that they are now in a town. And I think that's part of the problem here. But
And recently, I've seen a lot of Caltrans trucks in town. So it looks like they're getting ready to do some sort of movement or activity. Maybe they could update us
Well,
on
there's
that.
the
So-
work on 175.
That's coming. Joe, do you have a comment about Caltrans designating the town? Didn't we talk about that in our...
Yeah, the grant that we got addressed all those issues. Part of the whole thing about speed, which you basically touched on right there, is the fact that you can't control speed with a sign, you have to control speed with an impression. As a person, as people drive into a community, if they see that the streets get narrower and there's trees and people and stuff like that, they tend to slow down just from that on their own. And so that's how and we've covered before, Caltrans decides on the speeds of the highway by tracking how fast cars are already presently going and then determine a speed out of that. So traffic calming measures, like you're talking about, are what we had, or what are proposed in our design work from the grant.
yeah.
We need to get a grant, not more grants, to get the money to actually put those things to work for us to do the improvements that we need. And so this year we applied for a grant. I haven't heard anything on it yet.
Yeah, we haven't got anything back yet. There is a problem. It's not only coming into town, but people over the years have got themselves accustomed to blasting through Middletown. I can tell you that personally, I have been close to being run over probably 6 times crossing from where I park to walk to the cowpoke to have breakfast in the morning.
That's because we're
I
waiting
get,
for you.
I get in the crosswalk and I lived in Alaska for a long time with the snow and ice, so I'm used to people sliding through intersections. So I always look and I make eye contact if I can with the driver. And sometimes the drivers are just, they're looking, but they're not seeing anything. So I don't know what we're going to do about that. I think signs won't do it. It's going to take something else.
We'll discuss it at the next meeting.
Yeah, we'll put it on the agenda for the next meeting.
We
Okay?
did talk about putting a sign at the end, you know, we were supposed to do like a welcome to Middletown sign as part of that plan down at the casino, that intersection there. That was where that was gonna go to kind of bring that area into
Yeah.
town and then, you know, potentially an island or something like that.
Is that part of the grant that we already have?
The grant doesn't pay for that. The grant paid for the design and the ideas of how to monitor and keep traffic at a reasonable pace.
The
Like
grant
with
From the
the
casino.
grant was only for the design.
It was only in its preliminary design work with construction cost estimates and stuff. They're very, very preliminary. But you have to have that before you can move to the next step and apply for a grant.
Okay,
So when do we know if we're granted a grant?
We'll hear that.
they'll let us know.
Not until I think, it's supposed to be the end of this month or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I'm going to close public
Thank you.
comment last time. Okay, item number 4, banners on light poles.
So that, it speaks directly to this issue, actually, that if people were to reach the casino or wherever, and there was, say, a banner from one side of the street to the other, welcome to Middletown, maybe something like what they have in Anderson Springs now, you know, that archway, something like that. And then as they got closer to town, if we had banners on the light poles like they do in Kelseyville and in Calistoga, then people would know that they're somewhere, and those banners would also be inviting them to stop and be welcomed and hosted by us, because we're awesome. And so, and I mean all of us, and so that's what I would like to see happen. And I called Caltrans and PG&E this week, and there are a few weird things, you know, where one says, well, I don't do that and I don't do that, which you probably all, most of you have encountered that. However, we can have, if it's not merchant-based, if it's like a Middletown identity-based thing, we can have banners up for free. And Math would need to apply to Caltrans for it, and it takes about 60 to 90 days for that to happen, that's all. And I have the contact and all that already. And PG&E has 2-year permits to do that, and we could use their stuff, but
What do you mean their stuff?
their poles, because all of the poles are theirs. There's a way to use their poles, and they would need.
Wait, let me interrupt. Are we talking about light poles or other poles?
Well, the poles that are along the street are there. Are there street lights?
Power poles?
Street lights are power poles.
They're, yeah.
So it's different.
No, they're street lights. Yeah.
Street lights.
Yeah.
Street lights only.
Yeah, they're prettier. Yeah.
Well, they have
But
power poles.
they only go
like
so far.
along the same
Well, we were
place.
talking about street lights.
Just on the street light pole.
Yeah. And I discussed with them specifically the area between, you know, the high school basically and here more or less, you know. having
PG&E doesn't
banners there.
own the light poles.
Okay, so what do they own?
They own the power poles.
Well, that's not what they told me, but
Well,
that's
they're
okay.
they're
Who owns,
incorrect.
that's okay, who owns the light poles?
County.
Oh, then we have to ask county if we can have permission.
No,
No.
it's PG and right away, so we still have to get.
And Caltrans,
And
because it's in Caltrans.
Okay, so
right?
Caltrans is okay,
Yes,
is what I'm saying.
Caltrans, yes.
PG&E is okay. We just have to, so the county is the next stop then. So I have no problem. Who do I talk to, just planning commission?
No, you're not.
You-
Wait. That has to be brought before Matt. You're
No,
not gonna go
I'm not doing it. I'm
Okay,
just
okay.
doing the legwork at the
Okay.
beginning. I'm not gonna do anything without Matt.
All right,
As a
okay.
matter of fact, Caltrans said, Matt needs to sign off on it.
Yes.
Matt needs to do the application. I'm bringing it to Matt I'm offering my time in doing the legwork and my time in doing the application if it needs to happen, or if somebody else wants to do it. And the reason I'm offering my time is because I'm artistic. And so as far as the aesthetics are concerned, I have a very high, let's just say it's my specialty. Okay, so that's why for me, it's like, it's like the next thing for me is like, so what kind of design do we want? And maybe we get a design committee together to come up with proposals and open it up to the public to make proposals. And then the committee maybe votes on it. I'm just starting the process rolling because that's the way I believe things have to be done. You have to start.
The first, wait a minute, the first question that should be brought before Matt is, does Matt want to get involved in putting banners on the light poles, or is that Middletown Merchants Association? Middletown Merchants in the past have done that, not us.
There are some flags on the light poles.
No, I understand, but the question before the committee here, the assembly as they are called, is that a math job, or now math may want to talk about it later, but is that a math project that we want to front, or is that something the Merchants Association will want to have input on and talk about?
So can I,
No, wait a minute. Put your hand down a minute. Other people have comments here.
Wait a minute. No, I want to clarify because you're asking a question that I already have the answer to.
No, you don't.
Wait, excuse me, Fletcher. I brought this before the board. Wait, just wait 1 second. I would like to tell you that the next place I'm going is Mama, first of all. And I'd also like to tell you that because we are an unincorporated area, Matt will need to sign off on it if we're going to make it happen. And so therefore I'm bringing it to Matt to ask for that particular involvement in that, because we're unincorporated. PG&E needs Jim to sign off, and Caltrans needs Matt to sign off. So that's why I'm bringing it here.
Thank you very much. Now the question comes right back to, is that something Matt wants to be involved in, or do we want to say no? We want Middletown area merchants to be involved in that, and what are your thoughts on that? Yes.
The Middletown Merchants Association has worked with Caltrans in the past, and so they do have clout there as well if the body decides that it's more of a merchant thing, because I was involved at times in my past that the merchants are looked upon as an organization that Caltrans works with as well.
Okay, that's great.
That's great.
Did they?
Wait a minute.
Craig.
Right in back. Craig.
Craig.
The merchants have been putting these banners up, for years. So all the permits and all the requirements it takes for permissions and all that kind of stuff has pretty much all been taken care of, because we when I was in merchants, we do them for Christmas, then we take them down and put them for summer, so there's no permits and things that need to be taken out.
It's different though.
Okay.
What kind of banners are we talking about? Are you
advertising? We don't know that yet.
Well, that kind of makes a big difference. I mean, if you're talking about ad space.
No, it won't be ad space. Can't be ad space. Yes, sir.
It sounds like it could be a really inexpensive and low effort way to address the traffic problem without going into applying for new grants and stuff like that. So it could be worth Matt taking it on.
Yes.
I lived in Ashland for a while, and they had banners, and it really did make people understand when they saw those that they were in the town. It did really affect the traffic, because I lived right on the edge of where the banners started, and you could see the traffic came in, and as soon as they saw those, they did slow down. So whether it would be effective here or not, I don't know, but I can say that in another location it was effective.
Come down this way. Yes.
Okay, so first of all, Lisa, thank you so much for all wonderful things you do for the community. So I think that so far you mainly think about the art center for the banners, right?
No.
Okay, for the whole Middletown. Excellent.
Yeah, I can do whatever I want on the property that I'm renting, pretty much. I mean, as long as it's within a certain size or temporary and all that.
Oh, so you're thinking around that
I'm
area?
I'm thinking about banners like they have in Calistoga and Kelseyville that say, hello, you're here, welcome, this is our town, we love it here, it's beautiful.
And you think the placement should be both by the art center and outside town?
No, on poles all the way down the street.
Okay,
yeah.
wonderful.
Wait a minute. We have to get away from the art center, because that's an entity on itself.
Yeah, no,
She's not talking about that.
Yeah.
She's talking about the overall for the community.
Yeah, okay, good.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Good.
When you talked to Caltrans, you said they signed on? Was it
No, they said, are you an unincorporated area? And I said, yes. And I said, well, we have this body map, and they said, you need Matt to sign off on it then. So if Mama can sign off on it, great. It is different because we're talking about, Mama probably does these short-term things, and this is a long-term thing.
But did they mention anything about size dimensions and how far it can hang over the street or anything like
Doesn't
that?
hang over the street, it has to hang the other way. It can't
Yeah.
hang over the street.
It cannot be out in the right of way. Jim?
Merchants, Mama has been a dozen names, but Merchants Association has dealt with this for years. It's not inexpensive, it's very expensive, extremely expensive. And to clarify something, Matt can't sign off on anything because they're an advisory board. So it would have to
Be Mama?
No.
have to be, or through the board of supervisors.
We can recommend to the
You can
board,
recommend.
recommend to the supervisor, and they can sign off on it.
Well, it's still something that should be
But
discussed
it's
here.
it's a great idea, but
Yeah.
the procedure is already in place. When did we start doing them? Probably about 25 years ago.
Yeah, just 20.
There's a lot of experience doing it, and
Oh.
Well, I
Merchants are
brought
the
this
place to
up
go.
last meeting, and everybody said you need to go to Caltrans, so that's what I did.
That's part of it.
That's part of it, yes.
So,
I was just gonna mention to Lisa that it sounds like we've already got banners up there during the Christmas season and other times.
We didn't.
So it doesn't sound like it'll be permanent. It will come down and other things will go up as well, right?
well, that's actually beneficial, what you just said.
Yeah.
But these would be, the idea is
I
that these are the ones that are up generally, and then the other ones can go up for holidays,
Mhm.
Middletown days, whatever,
Well, Boris?
I was coordinating with Calpine on putting the banners up and down for about a year and a half, and they no longer wanted to do that, and that's why they didn't get changed as frequently. So it was a merchant's project, and we were doing this because we were storing them at the Methodist Church part of the time too. And so they have seasonal banners to do that. The basic thing is who's going to put them up and take them down. That becomes who's going to pay for it? That becomes an issue. But they are expensive because you want them to last, but it's a great idea, and I think it should be a cooperative effort because this is something that benefits the whole community, not just the merchants.
That's
So I
right.
think it should be a cooperative.
I got involved in changing the banners one year
Oh,
by someone, got me into it.
yes.
And I had to have a boom truck.
Yes.
And you have to get in the boom truck, find a place that you can get to the pole, go up on the boom truck, take down the bands, take down this, put it back up, and then go to the next one. It takes a whole day to change the banners or to do that.
That's why
It's
Calpine's
very,
doing it.
very expensive. Just changing them, or repairing them, or moving them, it's very expensive. I think it's a great idea, but how are we gonna pay for it? That's the question. Joe?
One thing to consider too, when talking about the traffic calming effect of that stuff, I think a lot of the people that speed through town are people like myself. I don't typically try to speed through town, but you come over the hill every single day for 15 years, and so you're driving over the hill, and next thing you know, it's like, oh, I'm in town. But the thing is that you get used to things, and then they just sort of fade away. So it will have an effect for a while, but I think it'll be a larger effect on people coming through that don't come through all the time. That would help slow down, but I think a lot of the speeding and stuff is local people that just are used to coming here on their way home, and it's been a long day. And
They don't
everything
see
else.
anything.
Right. So it's expensive, but to make it really work, you'd have to do something to change it up every 3 to 6 months or something. Otherwise, it's going to lose its sort of effectiveness.
well, not on
Which
the
is a trick,
visitors,
which is
though.
a hard thing no matter what you're trying to do.
Not on the visitors, though. And there's ways to do it even that like, a lot of the banners that you see are like two-sided. I'd have to see what you guys have been using to see how it changes and what would go
That tells
with it.
something because they've been up before if you didn't see them.
Yeah, that's right.
I've seen some, but I'm talking about like, when I drive down 19th Avenue in San Francisco and they've got all the museum stuff and you're driving down and you see these things in the middle of the road, and it's like, it's telling you there's something happening here. And I'm not talking about the art center. I'm talking about Middletown. It's like, that's why I don't know what the symbol is. I don't know what the picture is. I don't know what that is yet, but what I know is that I want to get people to stop here. And it's one way to start getting their attention to stop. And that's, you know, it's going to take multiple measures to make things happen. And this is one way that I think will work. So,
okay, so let's get to the nitty gritty. The next, I suppose, the thing I have to ask Matt is that I want you to consider what we've been talking about. And have you been to the Merchants Association yet?
yeah. Well, no, to discuss this with them? No,
Yeah,
they meet
okay.
next week.
You need to talk to them, and in the meantime, we'll mull it over and talk to the county. Caltrans won't be a big problem for us to use their right of way and all that. They're really good to help us. Anything that we want that's going to make the community better, they're pretty good. PG&E won't be a problem, and I don't suspect that the county will be either. They're going to want to know who's going to put them up, who's going to take them down. If they fall on somebody's head, who's going to take responsibility for it, and so on. So I think you need to talk to Mama first, and then we'll bring it back and talk about it again here after we go to the county and I want to talk to Todd Manziel, because Todd's the guy to talk to. And
Is that at the county?
He's the county. Now, just so you know, I don't care who does it, but whoever's going to speak for Matt is going to speak for Matt. Anybody else speaks for Matt is going to be in serious trouble with me. So, and I don't care who it is. It can be any one of you that's going to represent Matt to the county, but whoever it is going to be responsible to this assembly.
So my question is, when you say we've got to go and talk to the people at the county, so my question immediately is, so are you going to do that, or am I going to do that, or
that's
who's going to do
exactly
that?
what I just asked.
Right. So I'm coming back with a question to you, because when you say we or whatever, so do you want me to handle that?
No, I want the assembly to decide who should handle it. That's the way it works.
Well, I'm going to talk to Mama anyway, and so if there's somebody on Mama who's already done this, it's like it's not like I'm looking for new things to do and ways to spend my time.
I know I put up some of the banners with the straps on the old wooden poles. We had one right outside here by the Methodist Church.
Mm-hmm.
The poles that they were on, they were like a 1-inch diameter fiberglass pole, and there were 2 flags, and they slid down the pole, and they were held on with a cast aluminum bracket that was clamped to the pole. Now the pole was a wooden round one. Now we have these ornate metal ones that we have no idea what kind of clamping fixture we could put on there. There might be some special fixture that already fits on there.
There's a couple on there. I don't know where they
Are there?
came from.
Yes.
Yeah.
On the new metal poles?
Somebody's done
Yes.
it.
Where are they at?
The stars and the blue stripes.
Yeah.
Because it looks sort of like the Texas flag.
So where's
There's one
that?
right by Beulah's.
They're on the
You
street.
guys will have to look and see what kind of bracketry it is, and if it's the same kind that used to be used, it could probably still work. But the paint, those fiberglass poles were paint. I got so many slivers from doing that.
Well,
I know.
They probably have new ones. I mean, I priced what they cost, and they cost about $200 a pop. And
Per
so,
pole?
no, for the hardware and the banner.
Right. Oh, okay.
So, and the-
What I meant per pole,
Yes.
per
Per
telephone pole.
kit,
I-
with
yes.
2, yeah. And what I'm specifically envisioning is, you know, along the poles, along the main drag, basically. So that, again, it's like, so people feel welcome and they feel like this is a special, beautiful place, you know, which we all feel it is, and that's why we're here.
I'd like to make a suggestion, okay, twofold. Okay, one, bring this up at the next board meeting. I think part of the issue here, in my mind, it is, you're talking the concept out, but if you lay it out, of course you were going to talk to Mama too and see what they've done in the past and all that. So that we can just see what we're doing here, and then and what you have in mind as far as that. We understand the concept. You want to put something up that looks nice and attractive, and hopefully pull down and take a look at it. But lay it out a little bit. That's number one. Number two is I'm up in Lakeport every day.
Yeah.
So if
I think we ought to appoint
you want
Claude
me
to
to
talk
go
to
see
them,
him and
find
get
out
the
what's going
rules
on.
of what is
How
there.
awesome would that be?
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
So those are, I propose that we
I'll
move
second
on.
that motion.
Okay,
and-
on
and-
the band
And
then.
then at the next one, you'll have more, we'll all have all the details, we can make a good decision.
Wonderful,
It's moving.
wonderful. That's great.
I have one more thing to talk about, and that's the banner going all the way across the highway.
Archway.
That's not
They won't
gonna
let us
happen.
do it.
They wouldn't let us do it.
Caltrans won't let us do it.
Caltrans wouldn't let us do it, and I don't like the idea.
Do you have to
I
That's
love,
actually in your discussion next week, I thought.
yeah, well, the chair's taking some liberties. I love the arch at the Springs. My friend designed and built that, Joe Filbert, so, but that's not going across,
The deal with the one going across the highway, we have talked to Caltrans about it before, and you have to have minimum 14 feet on the sides. So that means if you're doing an arch, that means the middle is gonna be up to 18 feet or so. And there has to be all sorts of engineering and stuff.
Yeah, well, so that's great. So you see, we're sharing ideas and we're sharing our expertise. My expertise is the art, okay, and making things happen. Okay, so that's what we're doing. That's why we're discussing this here. It's awesome. The arch isn't part of my concept. The arch was just something that I suggested because you guys were talking about traffic issues, and it's like, you know, it's one way. It's like we're brainstorming and we're discussing here, and we need to keep it that way so that we all feel good about sharing ideas.
But that arch could, at some point when they do the State Route 29, when we get the grants and we get the other design
that's
stuff,
gotta fit in.
then it could be worked into that if there's some kind of thing like that.
All right, then we'll go with that. We'll put it on the agenda for the August meeting, and hopefully we'll have new input. Thank you, Lisa. Item 5, Marlene Elders. Movies in Middletown Square Park.
I'm Marlene, and I just wanted to let everyone know that we are going to have our first movie in the park this Saturday night. It's going to be Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day. So we'll be watching that here in this park Saturday night. The Boy Scouts will be doing concessions, so there will be snacks for you as well. All of this really is, it's been kind of a group effort to make it happen. Hardisters has fronted us the money for the equipment so that we could have the movies this year. We've been collecting money through Hardisters to pay for the equipment, but at the rate it was going, we weren't getting enough money to have movies this year. And we really wanted to have movies this year, so they did front the money. They still are collecting so that we can pay for the equipment. Right now, we've paid for about a quarter of it. Tanya from Star Gardens has put a lot of work into this to help get this going. And we are going to be having it the second Saturday of the month in the summertime. Right now we have scheduled August 8th and September 12th. I don't know what the movies are yet. So bring your friends, bring your family, come on out and enjoy the movie with us.
Thank you for doing it.
And I would like to thank Marlene. Marlene's brainchild, and she has tenacity. She does not give up.
6 months ago or a year ago, she brought it up, and I was sitting with one of the board members, and I said, "Man, she's loony." That'll never happen. And because she's who she is, and she has a simple way of getting things done, and because of her hard work, and especially because of an organization in this town who always steps up. Always steps up. They just simply said, go buy the equipment and we'll pay for it. And that's family of Hardisters, and I want to thank them.
Wayne was here.
Yeah,
Dwayne was
and
here.
Hardisters has offered to pay all of the licensing fees. However, they don't want to take all of the credit for everything. So if there's any other businesses that would like to pay for licensing for the movies, you're welcome to contact me or Tanya.
And what do
at
we
Star
average,
Gardens.
Maureen?
Yeah, what is that?
It's 150 to 375, but with shipping and stuff, possibly 400. That's the price range per movie. The movie that we're watching tomorrow night, or Saturday night, was $200. So if anyone's interested in sponsoring, whether it be a person, a business, a family, if they want to sponsor a movie, they're welcome to. If not, Hardisters will be paying the licensing fee. And check my notes here. We are also looking for Middletown area merchants that would like to host the movie, which would require basically helping to pick out the movie, helping to set up the equipment, helping to put the equipment away, clean up afterwards. The Boy Scouts are volunteering to help with that as well. And I am available to help with that as
Who's
well.
sponsoring the first movie?
The first movie is being sponsored by Star Gardens and Munchies and Music.
Oh,
Or not,
Star This is a sacred matter.
And the Boy Scouts are doing concessions. We advertise that Munchies and Music is also doing concessions. Right now, I'm not sure on that, so we're waiting to see. So they may be doing that as well.
And people just bring their own lawn chairs?
Yeah, bring your chairs, your blankets.
No alcohol.
No alcohol. I don't know. I don't know if dogs are allowed in the county parks.
Dogs?
Dogs.
We have no,
No dogs.
no.
alcohol.
We have no signs.
Oh, okay.
But there is a county ordinance.
There is a county ordinance.
There is no signs.
But we wanted to have a park that didn't have no walking on grass, no doing this, no doing that, we didn't want that kind of a park unless we have to have it, okay? So,
Anyway, thank you to
wait.
Hardisters and Star Gardens for stepping up on this
Absolutely.
and really making a move on it.
Yeah.
If you can keep me, last year, we had great expectations of getting 100% funding from this from the county, and I was not able to get 3 votes. There were some curmudgeons, and I hope that this is being, those curmudgeons sitting on the board of need to be reminded. And then we suggested, okay, if the community can raise some of the money, maybe I can shame them into getting the rest. So keep me informed, and I will still go try to get some. Because in Upper Lake, quite a few years ago, there's a town clock. And they asked the board of supervisors for the money. And it came, well, see what you can raise and we'll match it. That's what they did, and that's what we did. I want to do the same.
And depending on how this goes, hopefully it will be very big, very fast. We bought kind of not as much equipment as we needed. We got enough equipment to get started, but there's always room for upgrade. If it gets bigger, we need bigger sound equipment and, bigger screen. If we need bigger stuff, then we may have to ask the county, maybe they can help us when it comes time to upgrade into more equipment.
Wait. Oh, go ahead.
I was able, there's a fee for usage of the facility that has been waived.
Yes.
Two quick things. Number one, if you can find politicians that have any kind of shame at all, I'd like to meet them. And secondly, the equipment that Hardisters donated is very handy for Matt to use because it has speakers, microphones, a DVR, everything you need for a presentation if somebody wants to do a PowerPoint or anything like that. And my suggestion is that we keep it under the control of Matt rather than farming it out to some individual because sometimes those things don't work out so good. So what do you think about that? Keeping it under Matt is a really good idea. Anybody object to that?
Here? Where's it stored?
Probably in the senior center. They have.
Well, I talked to Susan about that earlier.
I got tentative agreement to store it here in this building.
Yeah.
Just
All right.
do it.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else on the movies?
Also, Hardisters, they prepaid for the equipment for us so we could get this going, but they are still taking donations. If anyone would like to donate, please donate.
You know, we need a sign because I was at Hardisters in the Hidden Valley and I said, you don't have a jar or anything. And I said, you have some project where I can round the money up to donate like $2 $2.10 and donate 90 cents, but they didn't know anything about it. So we need to make sure that we have a sign.
GoFundMe.
They have their own movies out there.
Well, this is kind of being handled through Hardisters, and I'd have to talk to them about setting up GoFundMe. But they wanted this to be a community project for the community to own the equipment, and right now we are having kind of issues over who's in charge of controlling the equipment, and it will be good equipment for the whole community to use. It's got microphones, and you can use computers and all of that. I can talk to them about it, but so far we've been funding it through them, and about a quarter of the equipment has been paid so far from the community.
Okay,
So please donate generously.
so you're gonna hang on to the equipment and we'll store it.
Yeah, after Saturday night, because I've been having to play with all the wires and making sure that
Not
everything works.
It's not, yeah, we
And
prepare
so,
like
but I
both.
talked to Susan earlier, and she said that she could find a place for me to
great.
store the equipment here.
Hey, thanks, Susan.
So one way that you could make some of the money back, I mean, you say it's available to us all, but, I mean, I don't really know what you mean by that, but what I would say is that, what I would suggest is we could rent it.
I would
With
not
insurance,
No.
excuse me, with insurance.
No, I don't want to.
I would not suggest
Why?
that.
That's the way to get money.
This
You
is,
rent it for a community event?
well,
Bad idea.
yeah, I would.
You guys, you guys just keep on chopping things down. If you have like a really good application process and people are being responsible and they are insuring it, then why, you could get more money back even. It's like, why would you not want to fund it that way? You charge $25 for
Problem would be
anything?
that it can be paid for by donation, and then once it's paid for by donation, because we are donating money to it, then now you're trying to make money off of it, and I don't think that that's...
Instead of the
If
donation.
math is in control of the of the equipment, then math does not have a way to handle money either.
No,
Okay.
that doesn't.
That's fine. You know what? It's just a suggestion.
Okay, yes, sir.
Another suggestion as far as donations on the spot. Traditionally, popcorn goes with movies. I don't know if Harvester could provide that, but if they could, then people can purchase the popcorn with donations.
Right, well, the Boy
The
Scouts are
Scouts are
doing concessions,
Scouts-
and they do have a popcorn machine. So they're going to be doing that.
Okay, we need to move on. Anything else on Middletown Square movies? Saturday night, what time to start? At
At
dark.
dark.
9 o'clock.
Yeah, but bring your chairs, and bring your blankets and your pillows.
Fireworks
and-
didn't start.
be about 9:30ish.
Yeah, probably
Yeah.
9:15, 9:30, but
When
you
did-
can come early there.
When do we set it up?
I'm gonna show up at 8 and start setting up, and so are the Boy Scouts. So
Are
they'll
they
be
gonna
there
help
with
you?
concessions. And the Boy Scouts will help, and Tanya will be there, and
Some
Susan will be
sponsors are.
there.
There's some work to be done, getting that thing set up.
Yeah, it's not that bad, and the Boy Scouts can help. Most of it is hauling the stuff into the park to get it set up.
Putting in the truck is a bad deal. Having it here would be a big.
Yeah, that's how
Okay,
it goes.
end of discussion on item 5. Item 6, Monica Rosenthal and a Dollar General Committee report.
Okay, so at the last math meeting, we agreed to form a committee to review the Dollar General project proposal. And so we did that, and there were 8 people that came forward to serve on that committee. 5 of those people were able to make the meeting. The task of well, first off, let me introduce the committee members. So Charlotte, Michael, Claude, Ken, Linda, and is Kay here? Kay's not here today.
Nate is though.
Nate, yes. Thank you for attending. So the task of the committee was to objectively review the strengths and the weaknesses of the proposed Dollar General project. So the committee members also did a little homework in preparation for this. We all read through several parts of the Middletown area plan, specifically chapters 2, 6, and 7 that pertain to this project. I'd like to share just a little bit of information about the Middletown area plan, just in case anybody in the room hasn't seen that document or is unaware of it. But there is a document that was first done it was adopted in 1989. It is the document that guides the long-term growth and development for this area. It includes 3 different study areas, which is Middletown and Coyote Valley and Gwinnett. The area plan generally has a lifespan of about 20 years. So in 2003, the Planning Department and the Board of Supervisors decided it was time to update that 1989 plan. So in 2003, a group of citizens of this community, that group started off with 20 different members, very diverse origins in the county and businesses. And they began working on the update of that general plan. It also included, there were 3 different planning commissioners that were involved in that process over the lifespan of that update. A number of, the Board of Supervisors, a number of developers that were engaged here in the area at that time, and local business people that came in and shared their points of view at the meeting. So it was a large group of people that impacted the outcome of the Middletown area plan. It was adopted in August of 2010. So if you do the math, it's 7 years in the making to update that plan. And I just bring that up because this plan is basically what provides the foundation and groundwork for projects such as the Dollar General store when it proposes to come to a site like Middletown. This is what the planning commissioners and the Board of Supervisors will use to base their decisions on, along with public input from anything new that's changed over since the Middletown area plan was adopted. So a couple of things, the committee, again, in reading through the plan, we found several different policies within the Middletown area plan that pertain to this project. The Middletown area plan states that we would and should strive to enhance the economic viability while preserving the unique historical qualities of the area. We also need to look at creating jobs and providing local shopping to stop the leakage, to keep the money here rather than going over the hill. And we need to create reasons for motorists to stop. And that's been part of the conversation this evening. This building here, the park, the Gibson Museum, was all created just for that purpose, along with all of the stores that we have in town and the restaurants, in order to get motorists to stop. The Middletown area plan also states that new development should be subject to the design review guidelines, which is found in Chapter 7 of the Middletown area plan. And it is also important, the citizens of this community found it was very important to maintain the small town character and lifestyle that we have here. I'd also like to let you know that if you're interested in reading any part of the Middletown area plan, I know Ken checked it out, actually checked out a copy of it from the library. It is also available online at the county website. I think you can also ask the county for a disc, and they'd be happy to give that to you, so if you'd like to explore that on your own. Again, other things that the committee had talked about was that, of course, Middletown is the gateway to Lake County, and we need a tailored economic strategy to fit our town and to maintain our small town charm. Chapter 7 of the plan also speaks to community identity, retaining that unique character, discouraging incompatible or inconsistent construction while supporting the economic vitality of the area. In reviewing the Dollar General project proposal, we, as a committee, did find that we had some concerns based on what we found in the Middletown area plan. And that's based on some compatibility issues. Does it fit the theme and the lifestyle here in Middletown? Signage and the building design itself. Two of the bigger concerns were building, site orientation, and parking. In the Middletown area plan, it proposes that structures are put up to the street and parking is in the back. And currently, at least what we've seen with this project, is the parking is in front and the building is towards the back. So that's a concern. The other serious concern is traffic impacts and safety issues, given that it is on Highway 29 and of course with the school right across the way. The committee also discussed the trend towards healthier communities, which has been brought up here in the math meetings as well, and the current efforts of the Lake County Wellville program. So, and just I'll give a little insert for the Lake County Wellville program. A representative from that program will be here next month. Correct, Jen? Yes, so I encourage you to come so that you can hear about that program and see how you can participate. But in regard to the Middletown area plan and when reviewing projects, the health and safety issues that are generally taken into consideration by the Planning Commission, and I think the Board of Supervisors as well, would be things like earthquake and fire and flood, emergency response measures and things of that sort. So the committee identified several policies within the Middletown area plan that are inconsistent with the Dollar General project proposal as it was presented to us here today. However, I also did, and I'm sorry I didn't share this with the committee prior to, I know I tried to call you, Fletcher, before the meeting, but I didn't share this with the committee prior to the presentation tonight, but I did have an opportunity to talk with Rick Coel this afternoon, and he confirmed that at this point in time, the Dollar General does not have a complete application submitted to the Community Development Department for this project here in Middletown. And there could be a number of reasons for that. One could be because of outcry here at the math meeting, but also because Caltrans has asked for significant road improvements at the site. And then there is also the appeal hearing that is scheduled for July 21st. I'm not sure if all of you are aware, but the same project has been proposed in Kelseyville, and the project did go before the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission voted 5-0 to oppose or deny the request for the project there in Kelseyville. The applicants, the Dollar General, has appealed that. They have their appeal hearing scheduled for July 21st in front of the Board of Supervisors. So I just, my own assumption here, I would assume that they are probably waiting till the outcome of that also to find out, to consider what they may or may not do here in Middletown. But regardless, one other thing that Rick said that I could share with the group is that if they do in fact come in with their application, the Community Development Department will be asking them to make a few changes to their plan, like put the building forward and the parking behind. But the process would be basically is that first they have to submit that application, and then the Community Development Department would process an initial study. At that point in time, we would have something to work with, or even just before that, where if this body wanted to have the committee again go back to work, or if the body wanted to present a letter at that point in time to the Planning Department and the applicant, and we could go through and pinpoint those policies within the Middletown area plan that need to be addressed in order for this project, if it was to come to Middletown, to be compatible with the Middletown area plan and the needs and desires of this community. And that's kind of what the committee has.
Okay,
I would like to quickly thank the committee for their work, because everybody did their homework. We did a good job with that. Yes.
Quick question. The appeals coming to the Board of Supervisors on the 21st?
Yes.
Because I have informed Matt I will not be there. Granddaughter's 15th birthday in Oregon. I'm not going to be there, and I asked if there was nothing major. And the agenda will be checking tomorrow. Or maybe I wanted to be.
Okay. Yeah, right.
Thank you very much, Monica. One other thing we talked about at this meeting was that we shouldn't get too excited about Dollar General. We're a long ways from having to worry about whether they're going to build a building. Now, I'm privy to a conversation with the Caltrans, and their requirements are such that Dollar General says they may not be able to go along with it at all. It may stop the whole project.
In that site.
On that site. On that site. So it's not time to get excited yet, but maybe in the future. Thank you very much, Monica. Okay, item number 7, Gigi and Supervisor Comstock on alternative energy.
Yeah, it's actually Gigi and Roy Stahl.
Okay, Gigi and Roy Stahl.
I'm not presenting Gigi and Roy.
Okay. I'm going to give them a little...
where's the control for the screen?
While we're getting this set up, go ahead, Gigi. One of the representatives from Hardisters has made it back. He was out drinking beer. And I want to take time right now to publicly thank him and Hardisters for supporting movies in the park. Thank you very much.
What?
I have a question about the process for, we have the 3 minutes at the beginning of the meeting where we can bring up items that are not on the agenda so that they get placed on the agenda for next month. Last month I missed the meeting for the first time in the better part of a year, and they decided to have a committee, they appointed people to the committee, and they did all that without having put that on the agenda. And I'm afraid that the yes vote didn't really get a voice in that.
Well, that's a decision that the Assembly made.
The subject was on the agenda.
The subject was on the agenda.
We can discuss that after.
We'll talk about it.
No, I'm good. Thank you. All right, so we may as well get started. Thank you so much to the board for letting us speak today. My name is Gigi Stahl. Some of you know me as a Trails advocate. But in a previous life, I was also a management consultant. I worked in Singapore for 3 years and in San Francisco for a year, working with large companies doing industrial research, market research, and competitive analysis. So when this topic came up, I was very interested. I'm not in the power business. I was just very intellectually interested in what was going on. And we're going to go through this relatively quickly. There are a lot of details here, but because we only have so much time to speak, we're going to simplify this, hopefully not make too many mistakes, oversimplify it that it's wrong. And we do have a list of references. Some papers went around here, and there are a few more over there. My email is in the back of those papers. If you want a digital copy of the references, let me know, and I'll be happy to give you one. Also, if you're interested, just come up here and leave me your email, and I can give you some more information or put you on a mailing list. As information comes in, this is a very dynamic industry. I'll be happy to forward it to you. So I'll let my husband introduce himself.
Okay. My name is Roy Stahl, and of course, to give myself credentials to this group, I'm Gigi's husband.
Hi. Pretty good credentials.
That's my credentials. I'm also, I am an electrical engineer, but when I went into engineering, I will tell you, I went into semiconductors and computers. This type of power scared the bejesus out of me when I was in school. It still does, but it's a very interesting topic. But in being an interesting topic, it's also a big deal. The reason why power is a big deal, if you want to know where we stand in electric power in Lake County, we spend about $40 million on electrical power every single year. This is a rapidly changing, dynamic industry right now, and a lot of things are happening with electrical power buying. And the thing that's happening right now at the Board of Supervisors is they're gathering information. They're trying to make a decision on how we're going to buy power in Lake County, and it's going to impact your wallet. So again, we've gotten involved in this. We've gotten educated in it. One of the things we'd like to end up with for you is for you to be educated and you to get involved as well. So let's take a look at kind of what you need to understand about power from the simplified view of the supply chain. There's three parts to it. There's buying power, which is getting your electrons. That's what happens when you turn on the switch. Then there's transmission and distribution. These are the lines that go over your head. Transmission and distribution is what you see out there. Then it gets delivered to your home, and once it gets delivered to your home, trust me, PG&E does not forget to send you a bill, and they're also your customer service. So those are the kind of the three views of what it is. In reality, power is very complex. They are smart grids. They're going around in circles with geothermal, residential solar, wind out there, large-scale solar. There's lots of components generating electricity. Your smart meters that you have is sending information back to PG&E, trying to give them information as to when it's going to peak. And the thing is if we generate power locally, we can lower distribution costs theoretically. So again, this is an exciting dynamic area, and there's ways that as Lake County we can benefit from this. So what does the power look like today in Lake County? If you want to know what it looks like today, we have power generation. It's being done by PG&E. Then you have the transmission and distribution. That's being done by PG&E, and guess what? They're sending you the bill. They're also the person that you call when you want support. But the component of what's changing in the industry is this part, which is power generation. That is what is the exciting part and what we're going to get into more details on. And I'll turn it over to Gigi.
So as Roy said, PG&E basically controls every segment of the supply chain. But what if Lake County could have the ability to provide competitive electricity rates? What if we had the ability to buy locally and determine what mix of renewable energies we can have in our product portfolio? What if we could develop special programs, special solar programs, as well as programs that address the socioeconomic and demographics of this area? And what if we could actually get funding to build more local renewable sources here in Lake County? Well, enter community choice energy. This is a model in which public agencies, meaning counties, cities, and so forth, can purchase and even join with private entities to provide electricity generation facilities. This was made possible in 2002 through AB 117 in the Assembly, which then allowed public entities to do this. And 10 years later, the Senate passed SB 790, which provided even more protection for CCE, for community choice energy entities to function without too much harassment from PG&E. Naturally, that never happens. At any rate, there are a lot of acronyms here. There's CCA, there's CCE, there's community choice, there's choice energy. To make things a little bit simpler, we'll refer to it as choice energy. CCA is the acronym that they use in legislation, so just be aware of that. So who's in operation right now? Well, Marin Clean Energy started 5 years ago. They are the first successful implementation of choice energy. They are now expanding into unincorporated Napa, Richmond, Benicia, and other cities. They're doing quite well. Sonoma Clean Power started a year ago. They celebrated their 1-year anniversary in May. And by the way, Calpine Geothermal represents about 20% of their renewable energy needs through 2025. They're doing very, very well. In fact, when we first heard about this, I looked at their financials and I said, wow, look at that. They're making tons of money. This is really awesome.
Question?
Yes.
What kind of a price break does that give for the customers?
We'll go to that in a second. Good question. It's your turn.
Yeah, so we'll get to you just in a second because that's on the next slide. So we're getting there. What we want to first do, though, is give you an idea of what's changing and what happens when you select a choice energy program. The power generation and buying, what happens is by default, all of the users move over to choice energy. You do have an option to opt out and to stay with PG&E. So you're not forced to go to the choice energy provider from the customer standpoint. But in large, these programs have the bulk of the people moving over to the choice energy. The transmission and distribution, the power lines over your head. What happens if a power line goes down? This is still handled by PG&E with Choice Energy. So PG&E doesn't disappear. They just aren't doing the power generation buying anymore. Finally, at the end of the rainbow there, the PG&E still handles the billing in this scenario. So PG&E sends you your bill, but when you call for support, if you have a billing question, you're going to go to Community Choice. If you have a power line down, you're going to call PG&E. So what's that going to look like in your bill? Well, it's really not a big deal when customers get their bill. So they're going to see a PG&E bill. They're going to see the same things they saw before, but here you're going to see this electric delivery charges, $83. Well, that's the transmission line. That's for taking care of the wires over top of your head. And then you're going to see this new thing, which Sonoma Clean Power has their charge in it. If we had our own community choice, that would be what people would see on their bill. Now I'm going to get to your question. What does that mean? Well, in Sonoma, what that means is they are saving 6 to 11%, and that varies because everybody's electrical needs vary. In Marin Clean Energy, their programs are doing 1 to 8%. There's a lot of reason why there's variation in here. These programs were tailored to different types of communities. If we did this in Lake County, we should tailor it to Lake County needs. And I'm going to skip through this, but in the handout, you can go through these columns and you can see how that varies from PG&E, what Sonoma Clean, this is Sonoma Clean Energy, their Clean Start program with 33% renewables. Then they have a program, if you want to pay more than PG&E, they let you pay more than PG&E. I don't know if that's going to go into Lake County, but those type of options are available. But this isn't the only reason you do community choice. As Gigi was saying, now all of a sudden you can find your own suppliers for electricity and you can go local. But even a bigger deal is you can start generating jobs locally. If we built solar powered here in Lake County, that's jobs in Lake County. That's what I think also makes this a very exciting opportunity if it's done right. So the goal here is to pick the right community choice that works for Lake County. To give you an idea, what Sonoma did, they're putting floating platforms on their water treatment ponds. By putting solar panels, they're reducing the amount of evaporation off and they're generating power for themselves at the same time. What Marin did, in Marin's literature, they are claiming 1,600 construction jobs mainly being created in Marin and their communities by putting up solar projects. These are the types of advantages if we take this money and keep it locally. Again, normally we're shipping this money off to PG&E. If we keep it locally, we've got some real opportunities here.
So, it does affect your wallet, but it also affects the entire community. So that's pretty much the message of this. How did we learn about Choice Energy? How did this come to Lake County? Well, back in May, there was a new company. They only have been in operation for 7 months, called California Clean Power. And at that meeting, they provided a feasibility report, which was really more of a sales and marketing document. And then they also provided a draft ordinance. And an ordinance just is a statement for the supervisors to allow a Choice Energy program to start in Lake County. It's not an agreement. They also promise a fully turnkey, no risk, no cost, no upfront cost package for Lake County. On top of this, they provided a contractor agreement in which they guarantee 2% lower rates than PG&E, saving ratepayers about $750,000 a year, and a very attractive $2 million annual benefit payment per year over the 10-year lifespan of this proposed agreement. So when we first saw this, again, we were very interested and very curious about this. But when we started digging for information, when we started digging for financials from companies like Sonoma Clean Power, Marin Clean Energy, which, by the way, as public entities are completely transparent. You can see their financial statements. You can basically look at the minutes of their board meetings. They're not private companies, they're public entities. And it was really great because when we started running the numbers, it looked incredible. I mean, they were pulling in 15% operating margins. Okay, so 15 cents out of the dollar is profit. And you don't pay taxes when you're a public entity. So at any rate, what's going on here now? Let me go back here. This agreement, by the way, we spoke with California Clean Power last week, and they're starting to change their value proposition. They've taken a lot of flack from the industry. The choice energy industry in California is very interested in making this successful. They do not want any entities to fail, any public entities to fail. And that is why in the beginning of this presentation, we said that everyone's looking at Lake County. They are waiting for us and wondering what we're going to do because they all know about this $2 million public benefit payment. So there's been a lot of criticism with that, and of course it's understandable. This is a brand new startup company, and so far we've only seen California Clean Power here in Lake County. They've only been the only entity or provider that's been invited to the Board of Supervisors. Now there are many other options here, but quite frankly there may be more options later on. This is a very dynamic and fluid industry. Things happen all the time. I just got a text from somebody in Mendocino who gave me more information that was new and interesting. So the bottom line is, let's urge our Board of Supervisors to kind of like slow down a little bit and look at all the various options. Invite other service providers here to Lake County. Mendocino. The County of Mendocino invited at least 5 different entities. And we spoke to Marin, we spoke to Sonoma Clean Power, we spoke to the City of Lancaster, which is in Southern California. They're planning to come up here later this summer. And it is a very exciting, very interesting industry. And consider forming a task force. We need to know what we want in Lake County and where we want to go. And this is really critical because without knowing where you're going to go and without having political champions and support from the community, this is just not going to happen. And learn more. People, in Marin, Sonoma, Napa, who are now exposed to this new way of buying electricity, ask them, has it made a difference? What do you think? What's customer services like? And bring it back here to Lake County and let us know, let your supervisors know, and tell your friends and neighbors about this. So that's it. And we're now opening this up for questions. So many questions. I know.
Question now?
Sorry.
So, you guys mentioned that in these other areas they're putting panels on ponds.
Yeah, on their ponds. That's one of the things that they came up with as a creative way. They say, hey, we've got evaporation coming off the pond. We'll put solar panels on it. And they're generating power. So again, they're coming up with answers for their community.
And those are great ideas. I think that would be enough to supply the power for that plant. It's not going.
No, yeah.
But once the electricity goes into the grid, it's going everywhere. So it's not like it's just going to stop it at a home or divert a home if they say that they don't want it. It's obviously just in the grid. So I think that those are great ideas. I think that is good. Fortunately, I've been able to work for Solar City a year ago in March. And in doing so much research with other companies, we do need to be careful about companies that we choose because there's a lot of gimmicks and a lot of BS, to be honest with you, that's out there.
Yeah, I was about to say, there was a very interesting quote from when Enron collapsed. And when Enron collapsed, they said that power is, and I don't remember it exactly.
You can't see it, you can't touch it.
Yeah, you can't see it, you can't touch it, and it means it can be manipulated. And they said that what made Enron happen is people were manipulating that. We don't, in Lake County, we cannot afford to be manipulated. We need to have eyes on this. We need to look at it. And if a company's promising us something that looks too good to be true, we have to ask questions. If we want to do it ourselves, we have to ask tough questions of ourselves. Are we ready to take this on? We've talked with people because we wanted to find out what was this really like. We've talked with the City of Lancaster. They took it on. The City of Lancaster is succeeding because they're excited. Their county government is excited about taking it on. Barbara Boswell.
Hang on. The City of Lancaster also has a net zero objective, so zero greenhouse gas emissions. So they have a very strong and powerful mayor who's very gung-ho about it, and he's got everybody excited about it. So they have a climate action plan. We don't have one in Lake County. We have a blueprint that talks about having more green jobs, which I think this is consistent with, but it has to be more than just having green jobs. I think this is, you need very specialized skills to be able to pull something off like this.
Okay.
And we would have to import it. Yes?
Yeah, so just talking about numbers and figures and manipulating data on one of the slides, so not so PTD, 28% renewable, and snow power 33% renewable. You have to remember what we're talking about, what are our objectives. We're talking renewable, we're talking about CO2 loading. Because of course PTD has a huge portion of their portfolio is hydroelectric. It's not counted under the state guidelines as renewable. So if you want to do CO2 generation, which most of us are really concerned about, more so than renewable, the balance tips a long way. So when we talk about who do we want to supply our power, clean power, renewable power, whatever, we need to look at what are our real objectives. We look for CO2 reduction, or do we want the title of renewable, or we look at energy grants.
And that is, and that is absolutely why the community should be involved in making these decisions, and we should be putting a program that fits. If we say that, if we say that we want cost reduction, we should make sure that that's a priority. If we say we want to do CO2 emissions, we should make that a priority. If we say we don't care about, there is a minimum requirement, we have to meet the minimum requirement for renewable. So we come in and sneak under the bar at what the minimum is, which is 20, 33%. So we can creep our way up to that. But it's something we want it to match our community. And that's the type of discussions that we need to be having. So yes, and it gets even more confused because you can buy bundled recs and unbundled recs. They trade these things around. It gets really weird. Yeah, I was about to say, we're not going to go there.
And
yeah, so
and just one more thing. The cool thing with a choice energy program is you can provide a portfolio of products. So Marin is offering a 100% solar program. It is more expensive than just going with PG&E, but 100% solar means that they are sourcing 100% solar, which I believe is zero CO2. Okay?
Okay. Yeah, so
You hear a lot about mini grids today. Do you have any views on that as it relates to our being able to have an edge as a county? Mini grids meaning
mini grids. Okay.
Bigger than the grid on top of your roof.
Oh, I see.
it's pretty.
A neighborhood grid, if you will.
Yeah, having neighborhood grids.
That seems to be the forefront.
Yeah, so if you take the money that you're making from these programs, and there's money being made in these programs, Sonoma gives part of the money back to the ratepayers. That's the discount. They're taking part of that money and they're plowing it into a bank account, and then they're saying we're going to go out and buy put solar panels on top of our treatment ponds. And that's money that they're deciding to spend. So they now have money. Now, when was the last time PG&E was coming up here and saying, we're going to go put up solar, just for you, Lake County? They're not doing that. So Choice Energy gives you these types of options. That's what we would, yes, if you want to build a mini grid for a Middletown Lake, Middletown mini grid, other mini grids, then yeah, that would be something, again, as a community you could talk about.
So on that mini grid, Solar City, our chairman is Elon Musk, obviously with Tesla, SpaceX. The next step in the near couple years is that each home that has solar panels will have its own battery off the grid, and we'll use the power poles and power lines to supply other homes in the community.
Yeah,
so it's going to be its own grid without...
Yeah, and smart balancing, which again is the way the industry is going right now. So yeah, like I say, the excitement and the things that are happening in this industry, it's pretty exciting.
And Sonoma Clean Power is also offering a net metering. I don't know, many of you are on solar here, but net metering will allow you, assuming that you're consuming less than what you're getting through your panels, will actually pay you 4 cents, which is the wholesale price, per kilowatt hour. Sonoma Clean Power is offering 2x, 3x, and that encourages people to install solar in their homes. Somebody have a question?
Yes. I'm excited and encouraged by community-based choice and renewable energy. I've been working for renewable energy for the last some years.
Great.
and did community energy planning back in Kansas with some very progressive counties. But what I don't hear in this, and I think is important, is it's always so exciting and sexy to think about what new things we can do to produce energy when some of the best savings and some of the most job-creating options come in how can we reduce what we use at the end use.
Absolutely.
And so I would hope that in this overall planning that we consider, not putting how many panels do you need to supply one household if that household is wasting energy like crazy. So, or a business or a ranch.
That's all part of the programming. And these various choice energy programs are also, in fact, PG&E already does that. They are trying to, I got my little flyer the other day and I looked at it now that I'm curious about this industry, and they are giving you tips on how to do it. We could certainly do that on a much larger scale. We could start at schools, at the county, at institutions, so that, and the savings will be even higher. The savings will be much higher, more than 10% from PG&E because you're at that lower tier. Yeah. So that's a good point. I want your name before we leave.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks for saying we're going to grab our own cook and cook ourselves off.
Thank you, Gene.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
You're probably about to close. Prior, we could recognize Jim Steele, Supervisor District 3, took the time to come down here and be with us tonight. What we just heard.
He made a presentation here about 3-4 months ago, I think.
That's been a long
Been longer than that.
Yeah.
Time flies. Somebody asked a question relative to the committee on Dollar General. Why we formed the committee so quickly and got the report so quickly. The reason that was on the agenda, the Dollar General was on the agenda, and the Assembly decided to form a committee that night and to task them with making this report. And that's why you probably, I know you missed a meeting.
Yeah, I missed one meeting in the last year.
Yeah.
And they formed a committee, they filled the committee. It seems like the yes vote is not getting an equal say in this. We get cut off. I'm the only one who shows up anymore because we don't feel like we're getting a voice in this process.
What do you mean we get cut off?
Hang on, I think I can.
Okay,
Sir, in the presentation that was made, we did not say no. There was nothing in that presentation that needs to have a meeting that says you can't come. What we said is that based on the area plan, there are certain criteria in the property, and that the county is going to allow Dollar General to move forward, then we need to follow our plan. And that's all we said. There's nothing that you don't come, you don't do nothing. It's the same with Caltrans and the road, everything. Nobody said no in this deal. What we have found in our general plan is there's certain criteria that has to happen in order for them to come. And that's what we hope the supervisors or planning commission would look at. Why have the plan otherwise? Okay? So.
Well, I think you have to have a representative from both sides of the issue in order to have. You cannot have a committee made up of entirely Democrats or entirely Republicans.
Oh, well, wait a minute. We didn't pick the committee.
I'm discouraged because I feel like, I got 3 minutes to talk on this one time, and I got cut off. And the people who come and who are a yes on this don't come anymore because they're discouraged. We don't feel like we're getting a voice in this. I'm discouraged with this entire process, I gotta say.
Dollar General hasn't even, they're not even in the stage yet to
Well,
even.
I know, but we
I don't feel like the committee's over yet. It's like just started.
Yeah, well,
So
the
you
committee was
join
trying
the
to
committee.
find out what's going on, really.
I think you
and how
can
does
still
it
join
fit.
the committee and.
I'd like to be on the committee. I'd like to have as much voice in this as I can.
We ask everybody in the assembly that wanted to be on the committee, please be on the committee. And Monica, I don't think you said no to anyone, did you? No. So if you'd have been here, you could have been on the committee. Or any other yes person.
I missed one meeting in the entire year.
Ask her to join it.
Yeah.
But the application has been, there's a lot to go, so there'll be future time we can join in, that's fine. We haven't set closed anything here, so you're in.
All right.
If you want it. Okay?
You're signing up right now. All right, thank you. Agenda for August 13th. I want to make sure that the traffic issues thing is on the agenda. And I'm going to put the street banners, the pole light banners. Oh, do you have something to put on the agenda?
I guess the first part of the meeting to...
Well, that's tough.
I apologize that we're going to change. I would, if we can, go back to some of the traffic calming stuff that we had talked about on Santa Clara Road and crosswalks on 29. Can we bring that back onto the agenda?
Okay.
As far as the traffic stuff, yeah.
Please.
Both of those are going to be, because there's going to be one
issue, traffic.
about county roads and one about highways. But they're going to be different meetings. So you want them on.
Well, I brought up the traffic calming.
We're doing the
on Santa
county,
Clara
we're doing the
Road
county
and,
the next.
Yeah, the county, Santa Clara will be brought up at the next.
Right.
Yeah, we did meet with Todd Menzel out there, and he's got some suggestions. We'll put it on the next meeting, Margaret. Okay.
It's getting worse.
Yeah.
Not only is it just people, but it's like service people that are driving their big trucks to service things, I won't name names, they're using it as a shortcut, and they are going faster than people.
Yeah.
Okay.
We also had an issue where they were driving too fast. Did you hear that the other night? They had a trailer with them, and I heard something. Apparently, what I thought was a bicyclist getting hit was an elliptical trainer falling out of the back of that trailer. No wonder that. I mean, it was, and then horses all over. Really bad.
All right, we'll have that at the next meeting. So we have those agenda items, and we'll, anybody...
Well, Bill, do you have that on your agenda?
Well, Bill, he knows about that, yeah. Okay. So at that point, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So we don't have time for a marquee and an art?
No, not next one.
Okay.